Good morning. My name is Lenka Vysloužilová, and I'm the new head of Department of Cognitive Systems and Neuroscience. Our department is 10 full-time equivalent researchers, and it's practically divided into two parts. First part is working with data and signals from medical domain and mainly in assistive technologies. The second part work with hearing functions, and you will hear more about it. Our results, we published 30 articles in 2023. 5 of them was from Q1 journals. We have only 4 conference papers. Our projects, we have 2 big projects, ICAP, which is about teaching, and we developed there a device where we can rehabilitate or be more in cognitive processes and in EEG and flow and this kind of things. The second one is when Connect. We still working on the COVID project with a hospital in Vinohrady, where we monitor ventilators with patients. The other projects are from assistive technologies, from monitoring movements, from hearing, ethic, and so on. So let me give the word to the first speaker, and this speaker is Adolf.
So, hello everybody, my name is Adolf. I'm a PhD student at the Faculty of Biomedical Engineering, and at the same time I work here as a researcher. So my research focus is physical rehabilitation and ergonomy, and I'm using markerless camera-based approach for motion capture. So basically I'm using cameras and state-of-the-art motion capture and computer vision methods to track human movement. So in physical rehabilitation, it's part of my dissertation. It's a big topic I'm working on for a few years already. And now we have running project with Taiwan University. But in the past, we have also the project with Ben Gurion University in Israel. And part of my internship was also stay at Technical University in Wien. And on the Czech side, we cooperate with the Charles University, the Faculty of Sport. So the cooperation with ergonomy, we cooperate with the Czech Institute Státní zdravotní ústav a výzkumný ústav bezpečnosti práce, and we have also the company where we try our methods in real practice. I will show you on my last slide, and it's IT Pornoria. So first, my publication is from last year, but it's prerequisite to my research, and I had no chance to present it here because I saw my internships. So it's single camera based remote physical therapy verification on large video dataset, which was basically the prerequisite to my research when I needed to find out whether these camera systems are applicable in practice. So I somehow evaluate more than 2,000 of videos when I try to find out if these exercises are applicable, if they are detectable, if you can use these methods on this exercise. So it was a large database of different exercises. And based on the results, I create a methodology which exercises you can use and which are usable for this approach. So the second publication, it's in It's from last year, so it's from November last year, so it's quite new. And it's evaluation of functional test performance using camera based on machine learning. So it's more applied results of this method. So maybe you can see it on this image. So we are trying to use the camera, and we measure and record a lot of people. And together with physiotherapists, we create a system where for example, here it was the functional test, which can be defined as a tool if you want to evaluate some patient, whether he's able to do some movements and so on. So for example, this one is the step down test, where you go step down from this stair, and the physiotherapist can evaluate you and do the binary classification of some parameters like mood of balance and the depth of the squat and so on. So we collected data from the physiotherapist. At the same time, we record them on the video, then export the anatomical landmarks, then calculate the features from this landmark and create a model, which the result is that this model can serve as an automatic tool to detect the quality of performance of this functional test. So we achieved the specificity 0.8, sensitivity 0.68, and accuracy 0.7, which is not the best result. But the problem is that the physiotherapists usually don't agree each other. So it's something we are still trying to improve. So for example, you can see this is from the from the room which is next to this wall. So we are doing experiments. You can see this is the screenshot of our application, where we let the people doing some exercises and let the experts to evaluate them. And my colleague created this web application where you can track where you can send the application to the experts from physiotherapy, and they can evaluate the movements. So you can see there are some arrows, so we can change point of view because it's recorded on the 4 cameras at the same time. So it's the way how to get the better data to our model. So the last publication which is related to this topic is the publication published by my colleague, Associate Professor Lhotská, and it's I will just mention because of time, but they also working on the same topic, but they try to define movement as a static super object and represented by a single two-dimensional image. And it was another tool how to verify and score the fitness exercise. So, and also they use autoencoder to generate more videos and more exercises to enhance the database of the videos we have. And this is my slide. I will try to run it. So this is something I'd like to show, that we are also working in practice in the real industry environment. So this is in ITV Pronovia, and you can see there is a worker. It's recorded to cameras. We calculate, we export the information about the movements. We use OpenPOS, and at the same time we can in real time in post-processing say if the person is fulfill or not fulfill, met or not met the hygienic norms standards to their movements. So in practice, it's defined that this person can spend only limited time in some positions. So we create this tool to ergonomists to objectively say if they meet or not meet the conditions which are done to this employee. So this is just an example that we also try to apply these methods in the real industry, and it's not just something in the laboratory. So that's it from my side. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. If there are any questions to the whole team, so we can use also the lunch break. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lenka Lhotská, and I will show you what we can do for the seniors. It's a result of a project which reached quite nice practical results and also some publications behind it. So it's something we prepare for our retirement. Usually what is known is that when people go to long-term care facilities, they gradually lose their activities. Why? Either it's a health condition or it's just the service provided because they don't need to care for cooking, for supplying something for their household and so on. And of course, there are also people who are disabled or gradually lose their motorics, so they can't go for trips to do anything outside quite seriously. And it was one of the motivations because we are working for a long time with the social care environment. And they were asking us whether we can do something for this group of elderly people, not just sitting passively in front of a TV, or there are also some companies offering virtual reality experiences, but it's again like passively watching TV, only three-dimensional. So we were discussing and designing an application that brings the person inside and they actively control what they are doing in virtual reality. So first we asked them what would be the most interesting topics for them, and it resulted into three main topics. The first one was walk in a forest. The second one was walk in the city center, and the third one was traveling around the country. That's the starting menu of the application where the person can choose what to do next. And of course, each of these walks is different, so that even it's not stereotypical when they go to another application and they just do the same control. Because as you can see, the forest walk is fully done by computer graphics. And the exercise there is not only go through the forest, but also to find what might be unnatural in a typical Czech forest. So for example, palm was imputed, or some other pieces that are not typical for Czech forest. In experience travel, the trip starts at the main railway station, and from what we know as a timetable of trains, there are not timetables of trains, but timetable of different walks in different areas of the country, so you can select each interesting part of the whole country. And again, through these titles, the person can move to another photo. It's based on the 360-degree photos, showing the whole environment, and then you move from one photo to another. You may ask, why not videos? But it would be too difficult and too demanding, and in scope of the project, it was not possible to develop it. However, the application is ready for that. So if there are new possibilities how to finance further development, we are ready to do that. And then we have also the city center walk again. For example, here is Prague, so that you can walk through the historical center of Prague, the well-known royal route from, let's say, Old Town Square to Brechin, or the other way around. What were the most important result was first the certified methodology of the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, because it's the ministry which is responsible for the social care. And of course, there is a process to get the certification. We also translated it to German and English so that it's possible to offer both the methodology, how to develop the application, or new events, experiences, and also how to work with the seniors, because it's not only watching the walk, but also to lead a dialogue with the person afterwards, and when they are repeated events, so that they can do it repeatedly, and it's described how to do that. Finally, we also wrote two journal papers. One is more focused on describing the experience of the seniors and their reactions, and one is focused more on the technical part. What was a pity was that most of the project was during the COVID period, so we didn't have the possibility to test it on as many seniors as we wanted. So we started in this building. There is, I think, nobody who was also subject to this testing, but it was the first experience, and also we used it for further improvement of the topic. Thank you very much for attention.
Any questions about situation?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bureš, and I will present some of my research results. All my life, scientific life, I'm interested in hearing, and mostly to basic research. But recently, we are doing also something which is more applicable in medical practice. The main topics of my research are the influence of aging, various environmental conditions and pathologies on the functional structure of the auditory system. In cooperation with various other subjects, I'm interested both in the activity of individual neurons. So we are studying responses of neurons in animal models to acoustic stimulations, and we also examine the subsequent behavioral activity. And in humans, we also study auditory perception under various circumstances, under various conditions, and we focus on comprehension of speech, especially in difficult conditions, because this is what matters usually the most in the hearing impaired. And recently, in one of our projects, which is also solved here, and it is still running, is the development of novel diagnostic methods to go beyond the standard medical examination, which confines only to standard tone audiogram, which tells very little about the function of, for example, central auditory system. The animal experiments are done, of course, not here, but in cooperation with the Institute of Experimental Medicine, namely with the laboratory which was founded many decades ago by well-known Josef Sika. And from these experiments, I want to present two papers. The first one is methodic one. It is focused on the influence of quite a common methodic approach, which is used in optical imaging experiments in animals. It's called the cranial window. It's basically a glass or plastic window which is implanted over the cortex of the animal to allow optical imaging studies of in vivo activity of neurons. And we have shown that the surgery, the implantation of the cranial window itself, influences the responses of the neurons to acoustic stimulation, which was not known. It could be expected, and future studies should take this into account when when interpreting the result, because the results could be influenced by the surgery and not by the research question itself. So it's quite an important methodic paper. The second paper from the animal experiments was devoted to differences in processing of temporal features of acoustic stimulus in the left and right auditory cortex of rats. It was published in the Series Research, which is a P1 journal. I believe it's the second or first journal according to the Journal Citation Report ranking in the auditory research, so it's quite a good journal. We quantified how well the auditory neurons in the left and right hemisphere react to various types of stimulation, which has certain temporal structure, because it is quite known that the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere do not operate equally. Each hemisphere is specialized more into something else. We confirmed some of the older results, but we also showed that it has to be distinguished between the feature of the stimulus, which is processed in the hemisphere, and by the neural code, which is used for its representation. These two things are often mixed together, and we show that that they have to be distinguished because, surprisingly, the neural codes also differ in the two hemispheres, and they do not correspond to the features, because the left hemisphere is believed, is known to process more temporal features of the stimulus. The right hemisphere is believed to process more the, say, melodic or spectral features. But we have shown that it is the right hemisphere which uses more the temporal coding, and the left hemisphere uses more the rate coding. So it's kind of counterintuitive, and it's quite an interesting result. Then we have some human experiments. We collaborate with Dr. Profant from University Hospital Královské Vinohrady, and recently also with Professor Martin Mayer and his colleagues from University of Zurich in Switzerland. We are working mostly with people with some hearing disorder, and recently we published two papers which focus on people suffering from tinnitus. The first one was again published in Hearing Research, and it shows the associations of speech understanding, especially under difficult conditions, with several types of cognitive capabilities. The speech is presented either in noise, or we have developed a test which is quite interesting, which utilizes speech with interruptions. Sounds as if, for example, you have a weak signal in your cell phone, and you hear dropouts of parts of the signal. And a very recent paper, which was published online just a couple of weeks ago, was in the European Archives of Otolaryngology, and it speaks about the differences in speech understanding between Czech people and people speaking Swiss German. We have also tested it in normal healthy individuals and also in tinnitus patients, and we showed that there are quite significant differences between speech comprehension between the Czech and Swiss subjects, differing, for example, in the lowest intensity of speech that has to be presented in order for the subject to understand it, or different dependence on signal to noise ratio in the case of speech in noise, and other associations. Interestingly, the tinnitus subjects perform equally or analogously to the subjects without tinnitus. So these are the results. Before finishing, I would like to say that we just started here a new project funded by CACORR, which is devoted to development of a new speech material for clinical testing of speech comprehension, because what is used now in medical practice is more than 50 or 60 years old. So we are working on something new, something more modern, and this should lead to something more applicable than these results, which are mostly basic results. So thanks for your attention.
Any question?
Hello, good morning, good day, everyone. Thanks for having me. I apologize I cannot be there in person, online due to my time zone difference. I'd like to introduce you the work that we did in a group of people working and bringing artificial intelligence for brain implant, mainly focusing on research around brain implants and how machine learning can bring brain co-processors to help people with severe neurological diseases. We target very fractionated and difficult problems in neuroscience and epilepsy. I'll show you some of the work that we are doing and the research. Here's my funding and disclosures. I work with a little team of researchers, PhD students. My core PhD students are Kamila Lepkova and Vladimir Sladký. They are very talented PhD students with multiple publications already. And I also work within COGSYS group with my collaborators Václav Gerla and Arnoš Mládek, who are helping me. And I served as a mentor to Jindřich Adolf, who made an internship and who is a collaborator of Mayo Clinic lab from Czech. We collaborate with multiple institutions, our lab at Mayo Clinic, Yale Hospital, University of Oxford, and also Czech centers, faculty hospital in Sundance with International Clinical Research Center, and Gdańsk University of Technology. We also collaborate with industry, Czech Certicon partner, Medtronic, big device company in medtech health system, and new startup for implantable devices, Cadence Neuroscience. What do we do? So we try to design new generation of systems that help with multiple management of multiple diseases. Our big work is mostly in epilepsy, but we expand to pain, headaches, ALS, and so on. And we integrate brain implant technologies that are available with local and distributed computing that will enable rich data collection, including ambulatory EEG, patient behavior, sleep, mood, for example, to enable to research approaches that weren't possible without these data sets, and that can be later embedded in new implantable devices to bring new technologies into devices to help treat patients' diseases better than with current technologies. We've been working hard last few years. I will show a few pages of publications that we made. We don't publish so much in conference proceedings because we are in the room of medtech and medical research. And usually those are just abstract conferences, which we do a lot, but we still had some of the conference proceedings in a good conferences, like you can see here. We try to focus on publishing our research in manuscript with high impact factor. Here is the publications in year 2022 within my group, and latest year publications. We had nice publications in D1, Q1 journals as well. As I mentioned, we also develop and try to translate the research into something meaningful and useful. So we worked with a Certicon company that was developing the application. We consult for them how to implement machine learning tools into that for a medical domain, and they made a really nice application that is now tested, and getting feedback from multiple good academic institutions that are trying to using the application, like Mayo Clinic, University of California, San Francisco, and Yale University. Here you can see just a few screenshots. This is the application that's made for processing of longitudinal data signals, where you can do some basic stuff like FFT spectrograms, of course, but then you can also extract latent features you cannot see by naked eye and train the classifiers, and so you can see the profile of these features along the time. This is like 1 day of the data, just for simplicity, where you can see the cycles of sleep, and you can integrate this with the camera and recording of raw data from these devices. Here you can see the dog sleeping in a kennel. It was tested at Mayo Clinic, and then you can see the embedding of this latent space into the PCA domain here, into the 3D plot that can show you the different states of the brain during this. That's just for brief introduction of the tool and the devices. Just the one outcome that we are trying to work on. We also try to work on the principles of open science, share and disseminate the tools that we do. Here is the links where you can find most of our work if you are interested. Thank you so much for having me, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Have a nice day.
Okay, so are there any questions, thoughts, remarks? No? Please be more active so that it's more live.